Hello, everyone. Welcome to a Sunday afternoon, almost evening. It's like dusk right now. At least in Michigan, it's almost dusk. Episode of the MSBA podcast. I'm joined here today with coach of the Menacing Mudkips, Josh Cambry. Sorry, Josh, I gave out your
Yo.
last name. My bad.
No problem.
No
I'll
problem.
friend y'all on Facebook. You'll see it there. Anyways.
So we are
uh,
we are going to do a quick rundown of week 6, but not going to go over the battles. We are just going to discuss what happened. I'm going to just outline the episode for everyone because we tend to ramble sometimes when I'm with Mr. Brandon. So we're going to do that, and we're going to go over the first half recap, surprises, letdowns, who's stepping up, who's not. Check out the playoff race. And then we're going to go over week 7, and we're also going to talk about the last couple weeks of moves since the last time we recorded. So let's start, Josh. What do you say?
I say week 6 was it was like double the matches, so I
Right.
really enjoyed just watching everyone and everyone has it's so cool to see everyone have their own stream setups and um all this different personality. I also feel like a lot of people were chatting in the Twitch chats and stuff way more
Absolutely.
than previous weeks. But I mean, there was a couple of nail biters.
Oh, yeah. I
Go
thought, yeah. First off, I want
ahead.
to touch on the Twitch conversation. We were talking about how don't coach in chat. Like, be careful what you say. Like, it's hard to do that because you don't know what streamer's actually watching chat, like reading chat, and who's not. Like when I recorded, you could obviously tell I was not watching my chat until in between games, so I wouldn't care because I wasn't going to read it. But then you got people that have the superficial stream set up and they got their chat on one monitor and the game on the other because they're legit, and it's
Mm-hmm.
who knows? But I know I feel like we've gotten better with figuring out what we can and can't say to people on stream, so I think that's a good thing. But if we look at the nail biters,
Yeah, I definitely remember the ones I do remember are ones that were I was really tempted to say something. It's just oh fuck, what if he did this or what if he did
right?
that? I mean, obviously, I think I might have slipped once or twice, but um, but
Mm.
yeah, there was a lot of matches where it's just oh fuck, I can't even watch this match because I
Right.
just felt like something would have I
It,
would have said something. Oh man.
right.
Um
You're a clutch performer from what I've seen so far. You come in clutch. So for you, if watching, I always feel more scared when I'm about to start a match than when I get into it. I only get scared in a match when I need to hit a move and I'm not sure if I'm going to hit it. But other than that, I feel like I'm composed. But I feel like when watching you, I'm just okay, I'm not sure if you're on the edge of losing or on the edge of winning, and you always seem to pull it out. So, what is when you watch some of these battles? Are you more worried when you're watching? Are you more not worried, but nervous when you're watching, what could happen? Or are you more nervous in the moment? I know that's
um
kind of a crazy question, but
oh no, I think I'm more nervous. Well, it depends. I don't necessarily have a process when it comes to thinking about what I should be doing in a match, right? I mean,
right.
sometimes I try to predict what move they would do, and then sometimes I think what's the best move for me. But it's not
Hmm.
either or. Sometimes it just depends on the situation, right? Um, I mean, I think the moments that weren't
Okay.
actually too bad
Right.
compared to week 5 when I went against Benny, and I was just holy fuck! There was a moment I lost, I gotta say my week 5 against Benny freaked me the fuck out, because I swapped in Rotom Wash after into a weakness policy boosted Sludge Wave, and that OHKO'd it, and then Benny read fake out, but I guess I won that game, that particular game, but it was just
Yeah.
there was a lot of back and forth there.
I,
That even like I guess going sorry week 5, even
right.
though
I
um
distinctly remember watching that, and I was in the shower for game 2, and I was oh, it doesn't look good for Josh. And I came out, and you guys are still going, and I was did Josh win game 2? And they're yeah. I was like, oh shoot. And then game 3 came on, and it was just like back and forth. Because like when I hopped in at the end, like at the beginning of game 2, I was like, oh geez, Josh is down. And then I remember Josh, you came back. I was like, oh, I was like, I don't know how he pulled that out. When I watch you, there's been times where it's like you make a move, and then I've heard you say, oh crap, I didn't mean to do that. And then like you like don't, and then the opponent ends up not doing what you like realized at the end, and then it works out for you. And I'm like, wow. So,
No, seriously, like I feel like that's how it was with my matches in week 6.
mhm.
Um yeah, like I mean like for against Justin in particular, is it Justin the Pelipers?
Yes, yes,
Okay. Yeah, against Justin, like I just distinctly remember like, okay, this guy's like has like all the terrains, right? So
right.
I'm like, I have to like no matter what I do, I have to bring out like wheezing, right? And
Mhm.
um there was just like I just know that like I know that wheezing just like is like very polarizing in like against Justin because like on the one hand like he just completely like negates Whirlaboom, but then he also has like psychic stuff, which
Mhm.
would totally like
Destroy
overwhelm
wheezing.
my wheezing. So it was like a weird back and forth, and then he brought the justified stuff, which I was kind of not expecting. Um, I know that okay, I will give credit to Brandon, right? Like I was kind of shook about the justified uh Dragapult because
Right.
like that stuff that like when he did that the first game against me back in like week 3 or something that like completely shook me, and I was like, okay, I gotta really pay attention to like
Mhm.
what gets beat up. And then so I wasn't expecting Justin to run like any sort of like core that required abilities, just because I figured that he would try to lean more into like the individual strengths of certain Pokemon,
Mhm.
right? Um, but yeah, like he just like I thought like I know that Justin, I respect him. I just like wasn't expecting it to be so like I was expecting it to be much closer against Justin
Right.
in week 6. And then Noah's my against my battle with Noah.
In the week 1?
Oh no,
Oh, no,
Noah
Troyer.
Troyer back
Oh yeah.
in week 6, right? Um yeah, sorry. There's like two Noahs. Noah
Right.
Troyer, right? In week 6. Um those were like even though it was like 2-0 and then 1-0, like I would say that the matches are actually pretty close.
Those were
Um
competitive matches for sure.
yeah, I will say that like when you're like +6 like with Snorlax and stuff, like I don't feel like you necessarily need to like go for a max Quake on a Weezing. I feel like if he it would have been way closer if he did the max replenish
Oh yeah, he
instead
gotta
of
kept his berry.
yeah, he would have kept his berry and he would have like he would like I'm not sure if like it would have necessarily like um changed like my decision making, but it would have been a
Right.
lot closer. I do know I felt like I did get like a crit
Was
with
it?
my Jellicent.
Yeah, with the water
And like
spout, right?
yeah, the water spout game 1. Um so I don't know how much that would have played into it, but I feel like he definitely could have like refreshed his berry a couple of times instead of going for the max Quake. But I mean like at the same time like the plus special defense boost isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just
No.
that like like it's so like when you're like when you're like focal point of like your team's like on low health, like
Yeah.
um
You want that
especially
berry
after like
back.
+6. Yeah. But yeah, those are like good. Those are good. Like he definitely predicted some of my moves. I think I got pretty. He had like a good adaptation in game 2 that I remember. Like he brought. Did he bring? He brought a Pokemon that I wasn't expecting,
I don't even
and
remember
then
what it was.
yeah, I don't remember the Pokemon, but I just remember that like he read me in game 2, and so that's why like I remember my Scrafty going down because like I misread. Um, but yeah, like those are like I enjoyed those matches, and I
Right.
think moving on for like from my matches to like other ones, um, I remember Fuku's match in particular. I think me and Noah were like we were like ranting to each other because like okay, we even though like Fuku won his match against I forget who it
When did you
was.
battle Fuku?
No. So me and Noah were watching a battle that Fuku versus
Oh,
was he,
was it this
yeah.
week
So
or week 6?
no, week 6. Sorry.
Was
So
it Benny?
I think so. But I just remember that Fuku like was running. Yeah, it was Diggersby, right? It was like
Ah,
I just remember
yes.
that like he was like doing like some stuff where he could have clicked like a like the thing about Fuku that will always like okay, like I understand Fuku's like newer, right, in terms of like competitive battling, and I think that's
Right.
like really interesting because he's not as jaded
No, he's
compared to
definitely
like some
not
of the.
jaded.
I mean, he brought out that
It's
he brought out
funny.
that.
I've been
Go
playing
ahead, go
League.
ahead.
I just started League, and like everyone in League is always like so toxic and like stuff. And whenever I played, I'm like not in a bad mood because I don't really know the game that well. So like if something bad happens, I don't like get frustrated because I'm just like, okay, I'm like a novice at this. And like when I play Pokemon and I see something and it just like, makes me put my head back and just sigh and like you said, be jaded. And I'm just like I really hope I don't get to this point with League where I just get jaded because then I won't have like any games to turn to besides sports and like Animal Crossing, maybe like Mario Party that I won't just be like miserable in. But yeah, that matchup with Fuku Benny, I distinctly it's funny because Benny he only lost like once and everyone picked against him and Fuku proved us right. So I don't know if that was matchup based, but just seeing how he was running the Diggersby and like I think he clicked moves that were just like may have or may not have been the right moves, but they ended up working out. So
Yeah, no, that was the thing with Fuku. Me and Noah were like livid because like he could have like I don't know. There was just like there were moves that were just felt way more obvious and way more better compared to like the moves that he actually ended up doing, but it
hmm
like still worked out, right? So it's like okay, I guess we can't necessarily complain, but it's just
right,
like it's just like he could have like I remember there was like he could have went for him like a max hailstorm against something, and he went for like the normal type move instead,
right.
right? Um, and it was just like oh my god, like if he just would have like done the max hailstorm, he would have like killed like everything on the field. But no, he didn't do it, and then he still won anyway. So it's just like
Yeah.
okay, well, whatever.
I looked at my game.
uh,
I looked at my game. This is another week 6 game. I was looking back at my match with Adam, which was incredibly. You watched it live. You saw how I was reacting. I was amped. But I calced at the
oh
very
yeah.
end of the game when I killed his Tyranitar with Crook and I went for the Max Quake. I was like, could I have
Mm.
actually gone for Max Knuckle there in case like if I like would it have mattered? And I looked it up, and I guess Max Knuckle like would not have killed. Like if just based off the T-Tar set I looked up with my Crook set, and it wouldn't have killed. And I was like, okay, thank God I went for Max Quake because of the 130 versus 90, and then the stab boost. So I'm glad I clicked what I clicked because I don't know if I would have won if I didn't click the right move because T-Tar would have got another move off. And I was like, oh well, I'm glad I clicked like the optimal move. But then there was another time I was talking to Brian about it, and he was like, why did you click Max Quake instead of Max Steel Spike? And I was like, I don't know. I'm like not sure if it would have killed. I just wanted to make sure I killed. And he's like, you were +6. Like the defensive boost might have been more beneficial. And I was like, looking back on it, you're probably right. I just because there was no special attackers in the back, and I was like, okay, good point. But then I remembered in my thought process in the game, I was like, I thought he had 4 Pokemon the entire time when I got off my anger point strategy, but there's only 3 because I killed the Liepard. I just forgot I killed the Liepard. So when nothing was with the Corviknight in the back, I was like, oh, cool. So that was
Yeah.
that was a great match.
Oh yeah.
No one knows that misplay rough didn't matter because I had the berry. I had the berry on the crook. I had the Roselli berry. It would have only done like 20% with the defense boost I had. Felt good.
Nice, nice.
hmm
I did not know that. What did you tell me about
I
that? I
did
don't think
tell
you
you
told me
about that.
about.
I did.
Okay, you
I think
did. You
I
did.
did. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was.
Um.
Whew.
Whew, yeah. No, I agree. Let's see.
Uh,
Noah Baker versus Brandon.
I'm trying. That was intense because that was the
That was.
one. Oh, I can't even remember all the details because there was a lot of battles that week, but that was the last one. And I'm just trying to remember like what happened. It was back and forth.
Oh,
I know we got the beat up
yeah, yeah.
off in game 2 and it worked for Brandon. And it totally like shell shocked Noah because he used beat up with was it Dragapult that game?
No, it was Charizard. It was
He
Charizard.
did
That's what
use the
shook
Charizard.
Noah.
Okay.
Yeah, he used Noah. He's Charizard against Noah. Um, and so I forget what Noah. I think Noah was going for like a more passive lead, and then didn't really mind the Charizard because I think he was assuming that Charizard would have done something, but no, it was the Dynamax into Lucario, and then
Oh.
beat up, and that just like completely obliterated Noah's team. I think I
Yeah.
feel like the first and last games were close,
Oh yeah.
um, but then like the middle game was just like,
Mm-hmm.
woof.
No, I think one of the Brandon's issues with his team is that like he has some rain capabilities and he never brings it. Like even though Pelipper's not that good, like there's times where Pelipper can definitely like, you know, maybe swing the tide with Kingdra. I don't know because Dragapult's so fast already. Like I feel like he is always using the beat up justify strategy with Lucario, and if you see it once, like you can beat it because like Lucario is kind of
Mhm.
frail. I feel like if he had like a beat up component, but then had the ability to use Dragapult more offensively or set up screens with Dragapult, which I don't think I've ever seen him do, or even use Kingdra because he always talks about Kingdra, he never brings it. I just feel like that would be better for his team. But
Yeah, I agree.
and I think
Um,
that would definitely segue into surprises and letdowns. His team is definitely a letdown for me, just based on the power of his team. And he knows this. He said that he chokes in his battles all the time. But I mean, dude, you have Dragapult, Azumarill, Kingdra, Gothitelle, G-Max Charizard, and Lucario. And he brings like a lone executor every match. Like to me, that just doesn't make any sense. Like, why are you not bringing Kingdra? Why are you bringing
I mean,
Executor instead? He doesn't have a Trick Room component on the team.
yeah, I know that he definitely ran the Alone Executor against me when I fought him because he used it as a counter, right, to reverse it and then like to operate in it.
Hmm.
Which I just find it's I think it's not necessarily bad, but it's like um not necessarily what like the I don't think it's necessarily like the best thing.
Right.
Um, yeah, I agree that like he definitely could be using rain a lot more. I don't know if it's like a prep thing or if he just doesn't feel confident in rain because like Pelipper kind of just puts rain. You get
Yeah.
maybe like a tailwind off and dies. And I think he likes his focus sash on Lucario more than Pelipper.
Yeah. No, I
Um,
agree with that too.
so like yeah, it's difficult, but it's not like you can't set up rain with like Kingdra can set up rain by itself if you max it, and so can a Azumarill. So
I think
yeah,
another thing that his team, like he had the G-Max Charizard, and he didn't bring it like G-Max twice. He accidentally brought D-Max Charizard, and looking at his battle with Justin, which was just unfortunate. He missed 7 moves. I think the G-Max Wildfire would have actually made the difference in one of the matches. It probably made him win the
yeah.
game because the residual would have helped him out. And there was like a time where he missed an Icicle Crash on the Raichu, and then it was just all bad. So I feel like that was just like a mismanagement problem, and it's definitely
Mhm.
a letdown. But I hope to see who's he play this week. Uh, Justin. Oh, he has to get his revenge. I picked him to win because of what happened last
Ah,
time. So,
so
but
yeah, we'll go into Justin's team now.
right. Do you think Justin's a
Just
letdown, or do you think I think he's just like right where he needs to be, like 4-3? Ooh.
Yeah. Oh no, I agree. I
Yeah.
think it was really weird for him to. I think it's. I mean, I still think it's really weird that he had like most of the train setters.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Oh
and
yeah,
I mean, no one talks about Fairy, but I technically have the Fairy train
that's
setter.
true.
But like, yeah, like it's just really. I mean, like it's not like you can't necessarily prep for it, but it's just like there's like what 3 Pokemon that set terrain. They're at least he's gonna bring probably at least one, and then
Yeah.
like maybe two, and they all kind of conflict with each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
Except for maybe a Alolan Raichu with the psychic and the electric terrain.
Yeah, that's a perfect
Um,
tie-in. That Pokemon is perfect on his team.
yeah, I agree. I mean, it's just interesting that like he had Rillaboom for
Right.
like the longest time and just like never used it, or like it just wasn't working out for him.
No,
So
he
I'm
didn't get
glad that
rid
he
of
was
it.
able to. Yeah, I think it. I mean, at least it was like a good like token to hold, and like you know when he like offered it, I was like, oh crap, I wonder what he's gonna get. And I think Gmax Snorlax actually pretty works pretty well.
I think that
Especially.
they works decently on this team, but even then, like you have the follow me support with NDD female, like that's a good thing with Gmax Snorlax. But Glax Snorlax normally isn't supportive. I think that's still what this team is lacking. It's so offensive. Every single Pokemon in this team is offensive, except for NDDF and like I guess
Slowking.
Pincurchin and Slowking. And even then Slowking can tech. I don't think he's even brought Slowking. So
Yeah, I don't
like
think he has.
I think you and I have talked about this before. Like it's still like to me like it's just missing any sort of support to like live any hits because if you can like, for example, Trick Room, like he does have 3 Trick Room Pokemon, like Pincurchin, Dramp, and Slowking. But even then, and Snorlax, I guess. But there's no like support. It's just like hyper offensive all the time. So if you like have a team that can live hits and just revenge kill, this team gets blown back. So that's why I think like where he's at right now is like right where he needs to be. Like if he makes a support move, I do think the Rillaboom for Snorlax trait is good for him because Rillaboom was just
Hmm.
not working at all. But Rillaboom can easily be supportive, and he wasn't running it that way either. So I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely with like fake out like knockoff stuff, and
Hmm.
I know everyone likes running like AV on him, but I think Rillaboom is interesting with like others. With like if with a supportive set could be
Oh
very
yeah,
interesting.
like a Koba
Um,
berry maybe. I don't know. Just that's a flying berry. Just spitballing.
oh yeah, I feel like there's a lot of Pokemon that don't have like follow me, right? But like
Right.
because of their presence on the field, you want to target them regardless,
Right.
right? And so Rillaboom was definitely one of those Pokemon by the fact that like he's like he can be offensive, he can be bulky, and he can also he sets terrain, right?
Hmm.
And so not everyone like operate like I mean grassy terrain of all the terrains is like the one that's like it's like threat level is like a medium,
Yeah.
right? Like it heals things, but like if you don't like respect it, then it like overwhelms your team, right?
Exactly.
Um, and so yeah, like if Justin had a bit more of an offensive, um, like not offensive, he had more like a defensive support. I feel like is there like maybe a Dusclops? I don't know.
Yeah, that looks pretty good to me, like a
If it,
Dusclops.
if he yeah if he had Dusclops in place of Slowking, like he could operate Trick Room with Drampa and Pinchurchin, or just like have the or just to exist to reverse Trick Room, right, and
Right.
like have that still be annoying. 100%.
I look at
Yeah.
the team, and it's a lot of. I didn't expect to talk about Justin this long because, but it does. This team does deserve to be talked about. It is missing like the cog, like the cohesive cog. I feel like some people, it's like okay, what's going to run Focus Sash? Terrakion, maybe Alakazam, maybe or Weavile or Raichu. All those Pokemon could easily use Focus Sash, right? And I think that's a
Mhm.
problem that other teams have had, especially even my own. Like, okay, what item should I run on this Pokemon? Because these 3 Pokemon can run this item. Like, and it's probably best if one of them runs this item, but I can't bring all 3 if I need all 3 because they're not going to live any hits. So I only can have one
Mhm.
with the Focus Sash. So I feel like I think we're both on the same page. It needs like some sort of other defensive unit to bring, and then he can really unlock some more of the modes of the team. But I do think the psychic part of this team is still the biggest threat, not the beat
Mhm.
up justified. Because if you see it coming, you know how to beat it. But that psychic mode is still a major problem. The NDD,
Oh, for sure.
Alakazam, Raichu, that's tough. Uh, let's. I'm gonna say. So, who would you say your biggest surprise is except for you, because you have the best record in the league. But besides yourself, who do you think the biggest surprise is right now in the league? I mean, you were a newcomer, so you might not have known like who was good before, like who had a good season last year.
Hmm.
So, based on what you've
Um,
seen so far,
definitely. I'd say first off, I think and Fuku, like I guess Fuku first, and then Benny.
right?
Um, Fuku just because I don't know if I'm like swayed because of like the thing that we witnessed yesterday with like the shenanigans,
Oh,
the gimmicks, right? As
that was such a
Brandon,
good tech.
it was great. But like he like I just know that like Fuku would always make like is always making moves, right? That are
Right.
very interesting,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Um, and like it's like interesting in both like why are you doing this, but like also like I respect why you're doing this, but
Right.
like also why? Like it's
Yeah.
always confusing whether or not it's like a good thing.
Like the Meowstic for
Um,
Masharna swap. We'll talk about that here. Why? Like the Meowstic looked really good on Fuku's team, and now he's getting rid of it. You saw it yesterday against Blake. That thing put in some decent work, and it took some hits that I did not expect it to take. And now he's getting rid of it for Masharna. What does Masharna do that Meowstic doesn't do? I mean, it sets her up Trick Room, but what on this team is operating a Trick Room? That's another thing that confuses me. But
yeah, I will
like
say
you say
like I
this, you just said it. Why
oh
is he doing it? It's interesting, but he must have a reason for it. So I want to see it. Why he wanted to pick up Masharna. I definitely agree with you on that.
yeah, I think I will say that like um his the week that he traded Meowstick was the week that he went against, was it Benny's team? Or no, whose team was
He,
it? Like it was the team
you mean the week
that
he
had
picked it up?
Excadrill. No, the week that he it was there was a performance with Meowstick against Excadrill.
Oh, Benny. Yes.
Yeah, like I yeah, he still ended up winning, but like I remember the Meowstick wasn't necessarily working the best because
Hmm.
he tricked an Iron Ball onto Excadrill, but Excadrill still went first because like Excadrill is like fast as fuck, and then has like it was
The sand.
Sandstorm, so
Yes.
yeah, Sandstream. So I feel like that like I think he lost a Pokemon or two because of that,
Hmm.
and so I guess he just figured that like Meowstick wasn't working,
Right.
right? So I feel like maybe just like that kind of like rough showing from Miestic in that particular match was why he maybe in the moment decided to trade it. Um, that's just like a hot take of me, but like,
Hmm.
it wouldn't necessarily surprise me that like, Fuku does these like, trades or these waiver pickups kind of based on to like reinvigorate like his team, switching it up. I,
Right.
I can respect it. Like if he wants to change things up just for either his enjoyment or just to keep people on their toes. Um,
Yeah, I like it. I do think the waiver deadline. I know the trade deadline is next week, and I think the waiver is the week after. So it's almost done. The transactions are almost done from his side. But I'm looking at the draft results. So he has two Pokemon, three. He actually has three Pokemon that have stayed on his team the entire time. Those are Serena, Duraludon, and Togekiss. Everything else has been replaced.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah,
I didn't. That's crazy.
yeah. So
And I feel like he did mention that those three Pokemon were like his favorites.
yeah,
Um, okay, okay.
they're
So
good.
that's why.
I
Yeah.
love Serena. I have a shiny one, and that's a legit shiny one. I don't not a Fuku shiny one that we don't
Okay.
know where it
Not
came
not.
from shiny one.
We're not getting into
Oh,
this. We're not getting into.
we don't need to. But I do agree that his team, from based on where it started, drafting three Trick Room Mons, outwardly saying that he drafted Mons as trade bait, which is very risky because if you don't make the trades, then you're just left letting them go or keeping them. I think it worked out well for him. I mean, he's in first place even after last night's controversial victory with some choice words at the end of the match. I still think that it was a really good performance, and the way he saved that trick strategy till game three. I mean, we all saw it. It was. I'm not going to say dirty because it's like a valid strategy, but it was. I think
It was
raunchy. I
like
think
it.
raunchy might be the right word here.
Yeah, like just the stars
Oh yeah,
said like Fuku, you got to go for this. There's no other way. Like there's no other time, right? Like
right.
if there's like a top 10 like highlight reel from this league,
That was it.
that has to be on it.
Oh
Yeah, that
yeah.
has to be on it.
That was
Um,
the VOD for that is gonna live in infamy. Just seeing the end of the VOD. I hope it's still on Twitch.
we got to make sure we save it
Right.
then.
I think the other
Uh,
VOD that might live in infamy is Blake's match versus Benny, like week 2, when Blake missed like 4 different rock slides, and at the end he just cuts the match. I feel bad, but he's gonna be my letdown. I'm gonna segue into that. He's gonna be my letdown, and it's not. I talked to him about it yesterday. He was said that his like he hasn't really played Isle of Armor yet, and like he just wanted to go into the season like picking mons he liked, but it ended up frustrating him even more because it just hasn't worked out the way he expected. And I straight up said like you don't have like any offensive pressure anywhere besides Mudsdale, and your entire team is based around that one Pokemon. So it's basically like if you shut down Mudsdale, you have to play perfectly. And he admitted this. He's like, I have to play perfectly in order to win. And it's just gotten really challenging at this point. And I'm like, I don't blame you. Like Gyarados was really good on his team, but like I do think the Riolu Mudsdale strat is pretty good. I think Vikavolt has
Mhm.
been pretty good for Blake this season. Like I think that the Riolu's been all right. I mean,
Yeah, I feel like that's the
Togetic
thing.
has done good in the role. Like it's not better than Togekiss. We all know that, but it
Mhm.
is not done bad. Like I will give him that. I think that he needs to use Hydreigon more because that's a good Pokemon.
Yeah,
Like that, I
it
don't know
is.
why
It
he
is.
hasn't been bringing it. Like I know it's scared of Fairy, but that's going to bring offensive pressure that he doesn't have. If he's bringing a team that's Mudsdale, Bronzong, Togetic, Riolu, and what else did he bring last night? Did he bring Alchemy?
No, I don't think he's been bringing alchemy. I know, like
Yeah,
early in the season, he was like, "Hey guys, does anyone want alchemy?"
right.
And
Uh,
like everyone just kind of ignored that message.
right. And it's just like there's like Bronzong, Togetic, Riolu. Like, how are you going to get any offense out of any of those Pokemon? You're not. So I think that's just been his main issue. Is just there's not enough bulk. There is bulk. Like I'm not going to say there's not enough, but there's no offensive pressure, and I think that's just why like his team yes, he should probably have a win or two more. So should Brandon. Both of them should have like a win or two more. But
Oh, for sure.
overall, like the reasons the results are happening this way is because there's just not enough firepower on Blake's team, which is disappointing. But you can see like in most of his matches he makes decent plays. So
Yeah, so it's the foundation on those plays
yeah.
for sure.
I was
Um,
flummoxed. My vocabulary this podcast has been out of this world, but I was flummoxed when he switched in Mudsdale against me game one on that Brave Bird when he brought his Gallade and he switched out into Mudsdale. When that did 60%, I was amazed. I was so proud of Talonflame. But
oh yeah.
but the fact that he got 3 Dynamax turns off with the Riolu coaching and like I didn't even kill him until the last like end of his Dynamax just shows how bulky that Pokemon is. And I was like, dude, like I can't. I was doing like 5% with the super effective move. I was like, oh my gosh, like. And if he gets it off, like Mudsdale is a big problem. I predict Blake will get another win or two this season. It's just when.
For
And
sure.
I want to do one more letdown. You can agree or disagree with me. You can tell me to be quiet on this one. It's not you, obviously, but the letdown is Noah Troyer. This man.
Oh, dude, I was gonna say,
Okay,
yeah.
good. This man
If there's like a
started.
reverse Fuku, he's like
Yeah,
reverse Fuku.
yeah. He started 2-0. His team looked like it defied expectations because everyone was like, "Oh, Noah, his draft was kind of bad." But Incineroar, Dusclops, and Snorlax is a really good core in Trick Room and everything else. And then he said, "I'm gonna spice it up a little bit." He picked up Whimsicott, made no sense. He got rid of
He
Dusclops
picked
for
up Blur.
Clefairy. The Clefairy was
Um,
fine. Like, I mean, Clefairy's a good Pokemon, but he said, "I can't have two Violet users." Bro, like you can, like it's not
I
like
mean,
a
yeah,
bad thing. And now he hasn't won not even a match, not even a set. He hasn't won a game since he traded Dusclops. A game.
really?
He's gone
Oh
0
man,
and 2 in every match since week 2. You can look if you want to look at it. Noah Troyer versus Noah Baker, O versus O to 2. Him versus Brandon, O to
really?
2. Xavier, O to 2. Oh, it's a 0. Gosh. Noah Troyer versus Brian, 0 to 2. And then you versus him was a close 0 to 2. So, yeah. The Noah Bowl tonight is a big time for him because his differential is -7.
Oof.
Xavier, in addition to beating him, who was 0 and 5, he won 2 games last week and now has overtaken him, not in last place anymore. So kudos to Xavier for that. His team has
For
gotten a lot
sure.
better. The way he's using his team has improved. I don't know why he's not running a compoundized Butterfree instead of he'd be hitting a couple more sleep powders. But besides that, the team is improving from Xavier's end, so I'm gonna give him kudos for that.
Oh, for sure. Like, yeah, Noah's team. Um, yeah, like he picked up like a lantern. I remember that, right? He was the
Mm-hmm.
one that picked up lantern,
Mm-hmm.
and I was
Mm-hmm.
just like very confused. I think everyone was like
He's
very
on his
confused
third
why
different
lantern.
electric type now.
And the fan, like, okay, I think the fan is actually like decent. I will say
Perfect
that.
G wheezing counter. Doesn't even need its ability.
Like,
So
yeah, but I mean, like max flying is just like such a good max
mhm.
move. Like you can't like pass it up if there's an opportunity to. Um, yeah, I like yeah, like I said, he's like a reverse Fuku in like the sense that he makes like all these trades and like you can see it kind of pan out, but it just like never came to fruition. And
No.
I will say that like as someone that had Clefairy on my team, it was a bit difficult to use Clefairy with Porygon 2, but I think by like I kind of was able to fix that up by I patched that up a little bit by putting Focus Sash on Clefairy.
Yeah, that's what I
Um,
was going to suggest. But he has Whimsicott, so most of the time that's running Focus Sash. Not always, but
mhm. But I mean, like I think there's definitely matchups where like you bring Clefairy over Dusclops, right?
mhm.
Or like like Clefairy doesn't necessarily need to be living all these hits, right? Because like first off, you don't even run offensive moves on Clefairy. You kind
No.
of just want it to do the follow me's that it needs to do, and then
Follow
like
me,
do the
Steam.
damage reduction. Yeah. Um, and like I will be forever thankful that he traded Clefairy for Jellicent because
That was a good trade.
Jellicent like yeah, Jellicent has been doing a lot of work in my team, and so yeah, Jellicent was just what I feel like I needed for everything to kind of like smooth over in terms of weaknesses and
Mhm.
offensive pressure. Um, but yeah, Noah's yeah, I feel like if he stuck with like his like week 2 team or like even his week 3 team, like if he's just stuck with that, and then maybe just use like a waiver that wasn't fucking Lantern,
Yeah. Yeah.
he would be in like a better spot. But um, yeah, I never it never came. I was never really aware of like how like you I think you and Noah call it like a bloodbath. Um, our division is.
Oh yeah.
Um, I
It's
mean,
close right now.
yeah. I'm looking forward to my match with Brian.
Oh, that's going to be
Um,
epic. That's going to be the game of the week. That is probably the best match that we've had. Like the most like at stake is that match. Even though both of you are like sitting pretty, that match that's a strong match. And let's be clear,
yeah,
I think that your team matches up pretty well against Brian's team, but I think that the pickup because last time you played, he didn't have a Rangaroo, he didn't have Drapion, so those two pickups, like those are a little bit better matchups for your team. But you also have some new Pokemon. You didn't have Aegislash last time, right? And you didn't have Hawlucha, so those are two new Pokemon apiece for each team. So
yeah.
don't need to talk about what you're bringing versus what he's bringing. I mean, I have no idea what he's bringing, but
Oh
um,
no, yeah. I feel like when we played our first time, I think you or someone else was pointing out like the crits that I got in that match mattered a lot, and so um,
that one crit
I'm
did
interested.
matter. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested in running it. I'm interested in running it back just for like hopefully not too much hacks happens, but tis the way of Pokemon.
Oh yeah.
But like I think despite what the record shows in the standings, like those were very competitive
Oh
matches.
yeah. Absolutely.
Um, and so yeah, I respect I respect Brian and his team a lot. I didn't even realize that he was like the only other like -1 person in the league like
Yeah.
coming after week 6. Like I could have thought that like he had like another loss or something.
Mm-mm. Nope.
But I guess I'm the only one that gave him that L.
Yeah.
Um, and I feel like after the first week, I got really shook about like how to use my team. So, um, yeah, I mean, I will say there's like some people I'm looking forward to rematching again, like Noah and Xavier. My
Right.
first 2 weeks, Xavier now that he knows how to like run his team a lot better. Like it surprises me that he never knew that Rage Power had +2 priority, but whatever, it's okay.
Yeah. You'll figure it out.
Um, yeah. Um, Gmax Hattering is just so scary with like the confusion. And like Noah, now that I have a better feel for my team and like I'm pretty set with like how the roster is going to be,
Right.
um, I want to run that back because I'm not going to fall for the triad shit again.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
But yeah, so
Yeah, that week
yeah,
one, that was a letdown. That was a letdown. That first battle between you two, you came out flat. But that's
yeah,
okay.
I forgot to give candies.
You're on a 6 game win streak, so
Yeah,
that
I like to think I'm making up for it.
right. So let's look at the rest of week 7. So Jacob and Adam happened from. I mean, we both watched that. I believe. I mean, Jacob
Yes, yes.
just made a couple questionable moves again, but like, I don't know how much it would have mattered because like he'd sacked his Primarina essentially because the Corviknight was like really low. And instead of roosting, Adam just kept iron heading the Primarina, whereas he could have just brought in the Machamp and bullet punched and killed the Corviknight instead, or at least got close to killing the Corviknight. Instead, he just like stayed in and he like sacked Primarina, and the Corviknight was in the red, and it was just like I don't know, like why didn't he switch in Machamp to begin with the bullet punching instead of basically sacking Primarina? I don't know. I'd have to rewatch that. And
This fighting doesn't resist steel. It's just that like steel, it's super effective against steel, right?
yeah. Well, the bullet punch. So he was going to use bullet punch, but I don't know if it would have killed based on what the Corviknight was at. But he just kept going for like hyper voice. I'd have to rewatch. I don't know. But like there was another time where he had his Machamp versus Magnezone, and the Magnezone was it was sturdy, and he went for the close combat, and he lowered his special defense, and then instead so then because he lowered his special defense, he died to a Thunderbolt. But I think that if he just went for a Fire Punch and got like 65% off, I don't think the Thunderbolt would have killed him. And then he could have went for a Fire Punch or a Close Combat the next turn and won. Instead, the Thunderbolt knocked him out because he was outspeeding the Magnezone.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So
That's
the
right.
defense drop, the special defense drop, I think that cost him the game. I'm pretty sure I calced it, and I think it did matter. So yeah, oh well, that one's in the past. So on to the
Yeah.
next one for both of them.
Yeah. I mean, like I think they were still relatively close matches
Yeah,
despite
they were.
the record.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like I, I would, correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like Jacob just doesn't have like a good idea of when to switch things in.
Yeah.
Um,
I feel like he just thinks about the tight matchup in front of him rather than like he has the right moves sometimes, but he'll either like Dynamax too quickly or he'll like sack a Pokemon for no reason rather than just bringing in a Pokemon that can deal with something and then bring in like he'll be like, oh, I should have brought this in instead of this, and it's like, yeah. Or he'll just like use a move that's like not necessarily like optimal in that situation, and sometimes it costs him. But I
yeah.
don't know. I think it comes with experience. I think he's getting better. I mean, he made the playoffs last year. He actually won a game in the playoffs last year. He was in Shield last year, like instead of Sword, but he beat Noah Baker in the first round of the playoffs. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he did.
Wow, that's
So
impressive.
so Jacob's not like there's just sometimes there's like a couple things that he could improve upon. I think every single person can improve on something, but his are more obvious. But it takes time, and I think he'll get better. So I'm not
Oh, for
worried
sure.
about Jacob. The reason I picked Jacob was because I watched their first match, Jacob and Adam, and I was like, wow, Jacob, if he realized like Mimikyu was a physical attacker instead of special attacker, he wouldn't have kept going for Max Quake. He would have done Max Steel Spike, and it would have definitely shifted the game. And then a couple times where like he made the wrong move, I'm like, okay, I think Jacob's going to fix that. That's why I picked Jacob to win. But
Oh,
seeing,
I will say,
yeah,
I remember that he did like max butterfly on like scissor a bunch of times to lower special attack,
right,
and he was. I mean, I think there was like I guess he was going like it was a super effective move, but
mm-hmm,
like also he was going get the Pokemon on the field were two physical attackers, right?
right,
And so I think he could have just went for like a neutral steel, max steel spike, and that would have been like much more helpful. I don't
Right.
remember what game that was.
I don't remember either, but those are things that like you learn in time. Like, okay, what's the better play here rather than just what's super effective. I think he'll. I hope he listens to this, and then he'll see, and then he'll make adjustments. So,
Oh, for sure,
not
sure.
worried about
I mean,
that.
that's why we're talking about it.
Yeah. If
um,
who do you got in the second round of the Noah Bowl? I'm just going down the list here on the schedule.
yeah.
I got Noah
I mean,
B. So
I would. Uh, Let me look at the rosters. I would have to agree, just based off like how I know Noah plays
right.
and like how like his team, like the core of his team is pretty strong.
Mm-hmm. Does it have? It has
You know what?
Rillaboom answers, does it? Because Noah's
No, it
got
only has a
Rillaboom
moon.
this week.
He has
Uh,
a Moongus, and then like Durant can like eat up
yeah.
Rillaboom, but he hasn't. Actually, you know, I'm gonna go Noah Tor. I'm gonna go Noah Trier.
Noah Troyer.
Um,
Okay, respect.
yeah, if he can navigate the Incineroar and the Rillaboom
Mm-hmm.
well against Noah, um, those will like I feel like those are the two key
And
pieces that will.
Whimsicott is a good. It's decent in this matchup too. Whimsicott.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna switch my pick, but I see exactly what you're saying.
yeah, like because like I feel Incineroar can kill Durant, can kill Ribombi,
Mm-hmm.
can at least we'll get a menace attack off of a Marowak and then hit it for good damage, right?
Yeah.
Um, and so and like obviously he handles Amoonguss pretty well, assuming he puts the right items or like runs Incineroar like in the right
Yeah.
way.
Right.
Um, but like yeah, like Incineroar, Rillaboom, like it's a good core against Noah's. Not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily game winning, but if he can navigate that core with like the rest of his team, it'll at least be close, right?
Right.
This is probably like the best team Noah has right
Yeah.
now compared to like how it was like
Mm-hmm.
a week or two ago. So we'll see.
Noah Noah has 3 Pokemon I had on my team last year, and he hasn't let them shine yet. So I hope he lets them shine. Well, he let Vileplume shine once, but he needs to let Haxorus and Braviary. He needs to let them do their thing because they're offensive, and I haven't seen them show out yet. I'm hoping they do soon
Oh,
because
for sure.
Haxorus needs to see
maybe
the light.
maybe not this week, but
Yeah,
follow links for sure.
right. Fuku
Let's see.
versus Blake. We've talked about that. Oh, everyone saw it. We can go. We can move on. Uh,
Mhm.
Justin versus Brandon. I mean, I said Brandon because 7 missed moves against Justin, who disrespectively, second most disrespectful thing to happen this season. First, we we passed over what we talked about earlier. I'm gonna keep alluding to it, but I won't say it. Uh, he played Warzone in the middle of their match, and
and he and he
he
fucking won.
won.
Yeah, I remember that.
Uh,
Horrible. Oh,
and it's funny because he didn't play Warzone against Brian, and he got destroyed. So, well, he didn't get destroyed, but Brian, the game 2 was much closer. But they were good matches. I remember that battle, but I don't think Brandon misses 7 moves again. I hope he's prepared enough, and I hope Justin he doesn't have Rillaboom to I guess hold him back anymore. So let's see how he builds a team this week. I still got Brandon, but it could
I'll
be
I'll go with Brandon.
close
I mean,
either way.
I'm gonna summon my inner Brandon and say I always bet on myself, right?
Right. He
So
did not do that in week 6. He picked Adam to beat him in week 6. And I actually picked
he
Brandon to win that game. I went 11-3 last week, but one of my losses was because I picked Brandon instead of Adam.
uh I
I
mean
had a
Adam is just such a good battler.
yeah, I had a
Yeah.
real nice week of pick 'em last week, Josh. I went 11-3. I don't want to brag, but Noah Troyer lost me a match last week against you. I deserved that one. I thought Noah would turn it around. No. I picked Brandon and I picked Blake. Xavier showed out last week, so kudos to him.
Oh, for sure.
Making it.
Xavier, yeah, like I alluded to it earlier, like now that he's playing his team a lot better, whew, I'm gonna be
Mhm.
scared.
And
So let's. Oh, go ahead.
me
Go ahead.
versus Mitch. I don't want you talk as a bystander because
Yeah, I gotta say, like, I'm going to always like I'm always gonna like go for the underdog, right?
Right.
Um, like I think there was a moment where like Mitch definitely just admitted defeat and then like used Thunder Wave against like, a ground type, and then there was like something else, and so I was
I
just like,
remember your
oh,
ground type.
that was no, it was definitely it was a different match. It was a different match, but like
Oh,
I feel like Mitch shows like he can make the right moves, but
right.
like by the fact that he chose like a kind of strategy around Blastoise, at least that's how he's playing his team, right?
Hmm.
That's very much like um play around the base. Is that the right term? Like yeah, it's
Yeah.
like he's Blastoise is gonna be like the sweeper for like the whole thing, and like
Hmm.
you know
Blastoise or
it's
Ludicolo.
yeah, and so like he doesn't necessarily like allow he doesn't necessarily like give other Pokemon to let
The
me look at his roster.
opportunities. Yeah.
Yeah, the opportunities to play, or like I feel like he doesn't even necessarily even go for the shell smash before he G maxes.
Yeah.
And I think there were times where like he definitely still had like the fable to like take another hit, and he could have just set up and then
Yeah.
go into the max. Um, yeah, like and like I wow, he has Token Demara.
Hmm.
That's a good Pokemon. Like
Yeah, he
that's
could
a
eat
really good
lightning type
Pokemon.
moves with electric type moves with it.
Yeah, and it has Fake Out and Zing Zap, which are like those are
And
really good
Nuzzle.
moves.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Nuzzle.
I
Oh yeah.
think that like I've been looking at Mitch like throughout this year, and I think that he's progressively gotten better because he went from 0-2, 0-2 to like winning a couple games in a set. He beat me in a game in week 5.
Oh,
He
that was such an entertaining game, I gotta say.
Yeah, when he got that crit ice beam freeze, oh man. He took a game off Fuku. Like those are things that like you can build upon. And I still do think that like Mitch like I feel like he's starting to get the hang of it more. Like when I look at our game 1 match uh yesterday, I think that he
Mhm.
played the game 1 pretty well because he still had enough offensive pressure where like once I set up that light screen and did all the slow bro Kangaskhan shenanigans, like I couldn't freely. I had to take a risk to freely switch in my Venusaur because like I could still get crit or something, but like I had to. That was a long match. Like it was a 2-0, but it was a long match.
Oh yeah. That was a grind game,
Yeah, in the
for
game
sure.
2, I mean it was a 3-turn game. But the only reason that that game was that like much of a slaughter was because he did not bring Politoed. If he brought Politoed and like had Ludicolo, like he would have. I think he would have outsped because I went for he faked out. Let me see. He faked out Talonflame turn 1, and if
Hmm.
then I went for the max Airstream on Como. First off, when that killed, I was baffled because Como has a really high base defense. When that max
Hmm.
Airstream killed, first off, I thought Como was going to outspeed me. I thought he was going to Dynamax Como and put in some real damage on Dracozolt, possibly kill. But when I saw, I'm assuming that it was a modest or an adamant Como because I was a Jolly Dracozolt, so I think that Jolly outspeeds adamant because Como is base 80.
Hmm.
So that was surprising. But when he didn't have Politoed in the back to possibly take advantage of the Swift Swim, uh, I think that's where I think Talonflame would have still outsped, but I wouldn't have had priority. So who knows? But I think that was just like unfortunate that he didn't bring what is it Politoed that game because I think it would have really helped him. But I
Hmm.
mean that was just a bad matchup. Like I went hyper offensive because I was like, let's just try this for fun, and it worked. Freakazolt put in the finest. I can't be mad.
Yeah,
Obviously, I worked perfection, but I think it was just like if Mitch brought a different Pokemon that game instead of the ones he brought, it would have been way different. So,
yeah,
and I
and I
got.
like.
Oh, go ahead.
I mean, like I feel like it's definitely like I don't think he realizes how close his game ones are. Like in terms of like um you know if he like literally led the same thing and then just like made like one or two different moves and like made like a good read, he could easily like win like the same leads, the same Pokemon that he brought, right?
Right.
Um and I don't know. Then it becomes like a mindset thing because I really feel like after he loses like something close, after he loses his first game, he just kind of just like falls off.
Yeah,
Um, and it just like like you don't want to necessarily see it, right? Like it's just
right.
like um, especially after you see something so hype at the with the first match, like being so close.
Oh
I
yeah,
think like doesn't matter if it's like I feel like as long as there's like close games in the league, right? In terms of like yeah, as long as there's close games, right? Like not even like the matches have to be close, but the games when you watch
hmm
them, they're close.
yeah,
Um, that's what will always like make me hype, right?
right.
Um,
Absolutely.
so yeah, I feel like it's a mind it's I think right now it's a Mitch just needs to overcome like the second game mindset
Yeah.
and like
I mean, he's done
once
it
he
before. He did it against Fuku. He did it against me. So I just think that match was just unfortunate, like matchup. Like I don't know how much he could have done with that, but like moving forward, I want to see how much he can build off of like the progress he's been making this season because I think it's gonna
oh
happen.
yeah
I think he's gonna get a win eventually. I'm not picking him to win until he does, but I think it'll happen. So
for sure. Let's see. Next is my match against Brian.
we've overhyped this
Um,
match. We have not overhyped it. We've underhyped it. But I mean, you talked about it a little bit earlier. Do you want to talk about it any further, or
yeah, I mean, like, I don't think this episode will be coming out like by the time we, play. But I got like, I'm really sad. I'm really happy with like the with my particular pickup of Halucha.
right?
So I'll probably be bringing that in the
Oh,
game.
I'm gonna release it
Yeah.
now, like as fast as possible. So be careful.
Fuck you. I mean, well, no, I'm definitely trying to. I think we're trying to play after the Battle of Noahs. Um, just like whatever time that is.
Right.
But I haven't gotten anything yet about like what time the Noah battle is going to be. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it for sure. I think once he once he figures out how to navigate his Cinderace in particular, um, I think that's when like the matches will be like very coin flippy.
Oh yeah.
Um,
It's gonna be intense. I'm excited to see it. Very
mhm.
excited.
So Benny versus Xavier.
I haven't even thought about this match at all. It's an out of conference matchup. I haven't thought about it at all. What do you think about this? Because I haven't. Let's see.
Benny's
Xavier.
like
Ooh.
Benny's pretty like he's good. Like
Yeah, he's
I
definitely a
still have.
surprise of the season.
Oh yeah, I was gonna like if we already talked about like surprises and letdowns, but like
Yeah.
Benny is definitely someone that was on that list because like, um,
Kept complaining about his singles draft. Team's good in doubles too.
yeah. Well, I feel like one thing about the format is that like towards the end of the draft, in terms of like Pokemon that are like left in the pool, right? You have like a lot of Pokemon that are good in singles, right?
Right.
Um, and then like those Pokemon tend to be like really just offensive threats that just are really frail.
Mhm.
Um, but because like everyone kind of like drafted all the good doubles mons and they're all kind of spread out between all these different teams, like you can pick up like a good singles mon and like have that perform decently well in the league because like
Yeah.
not every single person is gonna have like the specific counter to that like offensive like singles mon, right?
Mhm.
And I think you saw that like against his match, like his matches definitely you can see that. Um, I just like I as long as he doesn't like freaking Max Geyser while his Gastrodon's on like the field, like
Right.
I think we're set.
That was
But
hilarious.
well, I feel like yeah, I think you made the comment in the game like if he didn't do that, like the game would have been a lot closer.
Yeah.
But like even then,
I don't
like
think it
I
would have
respect
mattered too
Benny.
much. Yeah.
Yeah, I respect Benny. I'll probably go with him, but like Xavier's team. Let me look at the team rosters. I feel like Xavier's team. It
It's
doesn't mind.
close. It
Yeah,
doesn't
he doesn't
mind
like
sand.
it doesn't mind sand at all. And Dusclop is Dusclops actually would eat like so many different hits from all these different
Oh
Pokemon.
yeah.
Like the
I
only thing Dusclops is worried about is Bisharp, but then like Save can just bring like Rhyperior, or
right.
yeah, he could bring Rhyperior, or like I know that Indeedee and yeah, he can just there's like a bunch of different things he could do to like at least check Bisharp.
Yeah, he's got to play around
Um,
Bisharp and Excadrill this game. But if he can do it, then especially Bisharp, Bisharp or Bisharp? What is it? Is there an actual
I've heard both. I've
heard
called
both?
it both.
Okay.
I'm not good. Don't come to me for Pokemon
No,
pronunciations.
no. I've said I think I used to say I said Serena like Sarina. I don't know if that's actually right. Could be. Who
I
knows?
think it's Tsar, like the Russian Tsar, right?
Yeah, possibly. I really
Um,
don't know. I heard it like that the other night, but then someone's like, "Bro, it's Serena." I'm like, "Okay, I'll start saying Serena." So, whatever.
yeah,
No, but like Rotom. I mean, Rotom doesn't really have a good matchup here at all, except for Butterfree and Virizion. But Dusclops is decent, like really good here, except against Bisharp and Drifblim. And
like
I don't know if
Driftwood was
it's
just like not putting the pressure. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like
Oh yeah, I
it's
agree with that.
yeah.
I don't know if
Um,
Xavier knows about Thwacky getting Grassy Surge. We'll see. That would kind of stink if,
yeah.
but who knows? Who knows?
Well, yeah. Gmax Hatterene's like max move with the confusion
Yeah.
will always be like just like the wild card, right?
Mhm.
I think like it's like now that confusion's 66%, like two Pokemon in the field, at least one of them will. There's a 50-50 chance of like one of them going
Wait,
to like hurt
confusion's
themselves.
66%? I thought it was 33.
Oh, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30,
Oh,
33.
okay.
My bad, my bad. But
Yeah.
like, so like from my understanding of like
Game
uh,
mechanics.
yeah, game mechanics and like stats, right? It's like 33% minus the chance, 33 plus 33 minus the chance of both happening,
Hmm.
and that puts it about 50%. Like
For Blake,
yeah,
it's like 75. So it happened
but
against
I
Xavier with him. I felt bad on that
yeah,
one.
yeah. But I mean, like I will like Blake's team. Going back to that for a sec, like it still definitely can take games, and will
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
like I really hope it like shakes up some people
Oh,
in
yeah.
terms of like the standings. Um, because like I feel like if you're like someone on the bottom end, right, your goal is not necessarily to get to playoffs. I mean, it's still very viable, but like
Right.
I think there's something noble about like someone that's in it to just like fuck like your
Yeah, mess
chances of getting
everyone
to
up.
playoffs, right? Yeah. And so
Well,
I think
shoot.
I
I
will
don't
always
think
respect that.
anyone in Shield is out. Like, yes, there's a distinguished top four right now in both divisions, which I did not expect, honestly, at this position, like at the halfway point, to have like a distinct who's out and who's in, and it's not like a game apart. Like everyone's at least 2 games back if they're in like out of the playoff hunt. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Brandon and Noah and Xavier all have good enough teams to just say, I'm coming back right now. It's a 14 game season. There's only been 7 games played. I could easily see someone Xavier like dropping like only one more game, finishing 8-6, and being in the playoff position because his team is that good now. That team is a problem. The way that he has offensive setters in and out of Trick Room. I think that he
Oh
has
yeah.
the set. Like I think he has a roster now where you could physically say like reasonably, oh, he could easily make it in. Like I picked Benny to win this game, but I could easily see Xavier winning, and I wouldn't bat an eye. I think the
Yeah.
X factor for Xavier, he has two. Porygon Z, he runs it with leftovers, and I do get it, I guess, because he has a Life Orb on Hat. I would maybe try to switch up the items, and he always opts to use Max Darkness and like Max Hailstorm. He just needs to start clicking Hyper Beam. Like he needs to put Hyper Beam on there. Start
Max.
clicking
Yeah.
Max Strike, even though he's Trick Room oriented. So sometimes that might be like not advantageous. And then put he had a Focus Sash on Hat once. I did see it one week. He did have a Focus Sash on Hat. He procures a randomly protected instead of just letting the sash go and setting up Trick Room that way. But
Well, like the thing I will say about Benny's team though is that like he has trick room counters, and that's the thing that like
yeah, he
I
has
know that in my games against Benny, I didn't use trick room once,
right
right? Like that was like Gastrodon's slow enough, and
Hippo.
Drowgage is yeah Hippo. Well, did he use Hippo? Oh no, he did use Hippo. It was I definitely saw it game one.
Hmm.
But like yeah, trick room like um, you don't have to like the thing about trick room Pokemon is like really weird because like I at least remember distinctly with my Mr. Rhyme, right, in against Benny. It was I had like 0 speed and like nothing invested in speed, but I still outsped like all the Pokemon on the field when I brought him out because like everything else just had a really low base speed,
Mhm.
right? And so I mean I don't think like Xavier has a kind of Pokemon in that weird speed tier, except for maybe Butterfree.
Right.
But he can like his team if Benny brings like 2 of his like Trick Room Mons, his team will just naturally outspeed everything. So he can go for Porygon-Z, and like the 2 Pokemon that do operate in Trick Room are neutral against the normal, the Max Hyper Beam stuff, right?
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. Like Zave, yeah, Zave can definitely um
He could definitely
bring it.
pull it
Like
out.
yeah, have we ever seen the Verzine out of him?
No, I don't believe so. I know he has one. So I gave him
Okay,
one. So I know he has it. Um,
yeah.
I mean, Darm could be decent here, except against Bisharp, but Darm could be really nice here. Except, yeah, I mean, Choice
Oh
Scarf
yeah, and
Darm.
oh yeah. By the way, back when the game first came out and like everyone was playing it in, like the holidays and stuff,
Oh yeah,
I got I got Zave the
Zen
hidden
mode.
ability demand the Zen mode one.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that would be spicy. He said it was his favorite Ice type Pokemon on his sheet. That document, not document. That's not the right word for it. Template. That the favorite Pokemon of each type. His
hmm
favorite was Zen mode. Galarian Darmanitan.
Yeah, I
He's
caught that thing in a beast ball, and it was I technically didn't even like do like a raid like a friend raid. It was just like me one on one. I caught it in
right.
a beast
Oh,
ball.
that's pretty cool.
Um, Yeah, so I didn't realize like I didn't really know how ball mechanics work for raids back then, but I guess that was like really lucky that I pulled that off.
Yeah,
Um, but
that
yeah, I like kept flipping through like my dates and stuff, trying to like keep cycling for the G Germanitan.
mhm.
Um, but
That's very nice
yeah,
of you.
well, I just remember like it was so hype when I found the raid for it
Right.
because I was like scrolling for like 3 hours through my dates, like okay, when's it's gonna come out? Because like no one yeah, no one knew how to like hack like Pokemon in. Like I don't think you can still do that.
You can't. Yeah, you
And like
can't do that.
but like just hidden ability like Galarian Pokemon were just like really hard to come by because
Oh
they were
yeah.
always like the fucking rarest.
hmm
Um, but yeah, um,
I had a.
I'm hoping to see that.
I had a. I did a Gmax Charizard raid for everyone a couple months ago. I finally caught one at the end, but Adam was doing the raid with us for 2 hours. He didn't catch one. Noah Troyer caught two, and I think Brandon caught one. And other than that, no one else caught me. Like we did it like 20 times. So
I think
that
I've got the soup.
yeah, just stinks. All right. Well, I think uh Noah Troyer is in the call. What? I see his logo's in the Discord call. He's not saying anything. He's just
Hello?
listening. Noah, we are ending the episode now. We just recorded, but
Oh,
we're glad to have you on the call for a second, Noah. So
can I give my 2 cents on something real quick?
go ahead, man. This you have a rematch on the Noah Bowl, so please speak. We didn't expect you to join this call.
Sorry, I didn't
Oh,
realize.
it's all
I
good.
thought
It's
people were
all good.
killing
It's all
it.
good. Go ahead.
I thought you and Josh were killing it. I'm just, I got some wine, just bought some. Gonna get the juices flowing for the Noah
Okay.
Bowl. Haven't done much team prep at this point, just a little bit here and there, but
Okay.
we're gonna be ready. We're gonna go out there, give it our best. The team's gonna have a good spirit. Driving. Sorry if I'm
Oh,
quiet,
you're good.
but
You're good.
Um, but yeah, it's gonna be good. Noah's got a good team. I think my team is getting better. I've
It
got an
is
idea.
getting better. It is.
Got some ideas for Noah, so
Okay.
we're gonna hopefully pull out a W. And if we don't, then I'm gonna boil it down to no team synergy at this point. Obviously, we've got new
Okay.
additions, so
Right. Hey,
everyone's got
man,
to
you can
gel.
still bring it back, bro. You can still bring it back. Two and
I agree.
five.
I agree.
2-5 is not out of it.
I mean, I could be 1-7, like Blake. So.
Oh my gosh. And on that note, it's 1-6, by the way. But on that note, we will end the episode. Josh. Thank you for recording with me today. We could do this
No
again. We
problem.
should do this again. That was a good pod. Noah, thank you for the pop in. Josh, you got to find your signature sign off. Do you have a sign off you want?
I would I don't know.
No.
Peace, yo.
Peace. That's what I do. Peace. All right.
Peace.
Peace out, y'all. Have a good one. Peace.